Thank you all for your testimony. It's a pleasure to have you here. Commissioner Moy, one quick question for you. I see there is an item in the aid to localities for $15 million for the state to pay the federal government for the rent of Floyd Benett Field to house migrants. Why are we paying the federal government to use their property to house migrants that they've allowed to come here?
Senator, I appreciate the question. It is a requirement of the federal government that some payment is made, and that was part of the negotiation and conversation with the federal government.
So you actually negotiated with the federal government, and they're still paying them $15 million?
There are services that are being provided, there's access, but these were part of the conversations with the federal government. Happy to provide more information about some of the details of it to you.
Offline?
No, we can do so in the record. We'll respond and give information to the full legislature.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Hope, a big concern of mine is manufacturing firms leaving New York State. We just saw a pretty significant article in the Times-Union just last week about Quad Graphics leaving Saratoga and mentioning that these are manufacturing firms that they're not going out of business. They have operations in other states, and when they are downsizing, consolidating, they're choosing to leave their New York operations for other states, typically those that are more business-friendly from a cost perspective. Quad Graphics, for example, also closed a facility in Illinois, another very high-tax state. So we're seeing this trend. The Times-Union article mentioned Essity Bath Tissue, which moved their operations to Wisconsin, Kentucky, Ohio, and Alabama, where they have operations, closing down in New York. Lehigh Cement, moving to Indiana. What are you hearing from these companies when they're making these decisions to leave, and what are we doing from an economic development perspective in New York State to do all we can to retain manufacturers and, in fact, grow them? Because I think manufacturing should be the base of our economy, and a lot of other industries will grow off of that. So why are we seeing this very disturbing trend of companies, when they downsize, choosing to exit New York for lower tax states?
So, Senator, understand your concern about some companies leaving New York and moving to lower tax states, and we have seen those examples that you point out. But we also are having more companies move to New York State in the last couple of years. Reshoring Institute named New York the #1 state in reshoring. And so by providing, shovel-ready sites and access to power and utilities and the things that manufacturers need, we're seeing many companies move and expand in New York State.
With incentives?
In some case, incentives, providing tax credits that are pay performance, yes.
So it's those companies that are leaving are those that are not getting the incentives. So the chosen ones are able to make it in New York, but those that aren't getting significant breaks are exiting New York. Just to move on to the AI consortium, $250 million, plus 125 coming from some universities that are going to be part of this. There's absolutely no detail whatsoever on a timeline, a location, how this is going to be set up. At a time when we have significant deficits, in fact, looking at a $20 billion deficit over the next 2 years, and looking at these universities, the top 10 endowments of New York universities exceed $31 billion. Yet we're contributing as a state twice as much as we're asking these universities to contribute towards this. Why shouldn't that be reversed? Or why shouldn't they be doing it on their own out of their excessive endowments?
We have put together a consortium of private and public academic institutions to be able to leverage their expertise in the work that they're doing so that we can, as I mentioned, provide ethical applications to AI.